Hello, everyone. Happy post Masters Monday. It is myself. We are back again. Cody Williams with me. We are going to talk about this week's event, the RBC Heritage, which I forgot is the RBC Heritage until I checked yesterday. But yeah, RBC Heritage event, sneakily one of my favorite events to actually bet on, and for a couple of reasons that we're going to get into that here in a little bit. We don't have a name for the show yet. We have been brainstorming a few. We are going to have a name for the show next week. Right now, it is pending name Golf Betting Show. Maybe we'll just stick with that. I saw Reed comment on Twitter that he kind of likes that name. But before we get into, we're going to recap the Masters here a little bit because, of course, it was the Masters. We got to talk about it. Do want to say congratulations to Andrew Zano, if I'm pronouncing his last name right. He won the BetSided Masters Pool giveaway, which is he won a $250 Visa gift card. We are continuing it for the rest of the golf season. So check out our Twitter for the invite link. If you're not already... If you didn't sign up last week, if you missed it last week, you can sign up now, and it's going on throughout the rest of the golf season. Non-majors, the prize is a $50 gift card. Majors, for the other three ones coming up, it'll be back up to $250. Free to enter, all that good stuff, so you're literally losing money by not entering. If you did sign up last week, if you participated in the Masters one, you don't need to re-register. Just go back on the site and submit your picks for this week's RBC Heritage. So, with that out of the way, Scotty Scheffler wins the Masters. He went from a guy who didn't have a win on tour 2 months ago to now having 4 wins, number one golfer in the world, and his first major win. Cody, I will now shut up for a little bit. What are your thoughts about the Masters?
I mean, it was just, I didn't mean to make this pun, but it was a masterclass performance. I mean,
yeah.
It's kind of wild when he was talking after, in his interviews after yesterday about how he was so nervous that he was crying the morning before and talking to his wife and saying that he didn't feel like he was ready for the moment. And then you watch him on the course and there's not an ounce of that in him. Like he's just stone cold the entire time. Anytime he was in trouble, there was no panic or anything like that. He was just ready to go and he hit every shot that needed to be hit, except, maybe 4 putting on the 18th
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, up until like literally the last 2 putts of the tournament.
but I mean, he could have 6-putted and he still would have won the Masters.
Yeah.
And so that just goes to show like what type of performance he put on. I mean, there were 9 guys under par and he 4-putted the 18th hole on Sunday and still won by 3 strokes. That's incredible.
Yeah, I saw Max Homa tweet out, like, if you're going to 4-putt to win the Masters by 3 strokes, might as well 6-putt and still win just to say that you did it. Crazy. It would have been, imagine if he would have actually like 6 or 7-putt and then forced to play off with McIlroy. That would have been nuts. But
oh my God.
Yeah, that was quite the scene at the end. And of course, McIlroy, speaking of McIlroy, what a bunker shot to finish off. I think that's actually I think the 2 things I'm going to remember from Masters Sunday this year is Scotty Scheffler 4-putting, but then still winning by 3 strokes. And then Rory McIlroy hitting the shot of the year up there with Hideki Matsuyama's approach in the playoff in the Sony Open to finish off his Masters round. And then Colin Morikawa hits a bunker shot to go in immediately afterwards. That was just wild. That was electric.
Yeah, I enjoyed Rory's a little bit more than Morikawa's because I live bet Will Zalatoris to finish in the top 5 at plus 400, and Morikawa holing that shot dropped Zalatoris to T6. So that one was pain.
Oh. Well, yeah, you mentioned before we went live that you suffered a bad beat. I didn't know that's what it was. Luckily, I was just on Zalatoris top 10, so I was still in the clear, but that's a heartbreaker. Doesn't get much worse than that. Losing on a bunker hole out on the 18th green on the 72nd hole.
The second hole out of the group too. Like one guy holes out, you're like, oh sweet, that's I mean that was a great moment for Rory. But then I saw Morikawa's go in, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about the Masters here before we jump into RBC Heritage?
No, I'm excited to head to Hilton Head.
Peter Dewey chiming in. Does Rory ever win a Masters? I think his Sunday round kind of gives me a little faith that he might. But then again, this is kind of classic Rory's that and I tweeted this out, there's nothing more classic than Rory having a huge Sunday round in a major that he's already out of contention at. And this year he didn't blow it in the first round. He didn't have a great first round. He was 1 over. But he just didn't really do, he played average until the final round. And you can't win a major by playing average in 3 straight rounds. So is Rory going to win a Masters?
I would love for him to. I mean, it's
Of
hard
course.
not to root for Rory. But at the same time, I think it was the no laying up guys mentioned this, but what Rory did on Sunday is also indicative of why it's only going to get harder for him to win the Masters. Like, he played a perfect Sunday round, like an
Right.
absolutely perfect. And granted, the first 3 rounds were great, but the player field is only getting, like, the talent pool is only getting deeper, and it's only going to continue getting deeper with the guys we see coming up. And so when you factor in the fact that Rory's only going to get older into his 30s, it's just going to get harder and harder. And I mean, obviously he has the game to do it. I mean, if he shoots, even par, he's one stroke off on the first 2 days. He's one stroke, or on the first day, he's, 2 strokes off the lead instead of 3 in the end. And so I think the game is there for him to do it, but I think it's only going to get harder from here.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of, big names, there were some big names that missed the cut too, which was very surprising to me. Xander Schauffele,
Absolutely.
my guy, broke my heart again this year, but he just did it in the complete opposite. Instead of just melting down the last hole, what did he shoot? He shot on Friday like 8 over or something.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Sandy Lyle beat Bryson DeChambeau. One of the most underrated crazy stories of the week. Like, 67-year-old 1980 something Masters champion Sandy Lyle beat up Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, wasn't it Sandy Lyle's last Masters too? I'm pretty sure.
Did he say this is his last match? Because they can just keep playing forever, right?
Yeah, but I'm one of the older champions. This was his last one, and I'm pretty sure it was Sandy Lyle. So
I
his
hope it was
last
Sandy Lyle,
Masters.
because
Yeah. Oh my God.
he just takes up someone's spot at this point. But I mean, if he is going to go out, that's a great way to go out, is by technically beating Bryson DeChambeau over two rounds.
Exactly. And then Koepka missed the cut, which I wasn't expecting at all. And I mean, Spieth obviously missed the cut as well. So like, which, I mean, I see you just cracking a grin over there.
I'm not going to say I told you so. I will not say I told you so. But then again, I did not pick Spieth to miss the cut in my bet. Speaking of which, let's recap our picks really quick from the Masters before we dive into RBC Heritage. I did not have a good week of betting whatsoever. Even my round-by-round bets, which usually I do pretty well in, did not go well. So tough Masters for me. But recap of the picks I gave on the show last week. I had Webb Simpson to miss the cut. He did make the cut. He actually played pretty well Thursday and Friday, which was a little bit surprising to me. Max Homa, top 20. He did not make top 20. He made the cut, then faltered big time on the weekend. My only winner was Will Zalatoris, my new best friend, to finish in the top 10 at plus 250. So that softened the blow a little bit. By the way, Will Zalatoris definitely immediately forgot who I was, but I'm just going to continue to just call him my best friend. He definitely doesn't remember me already, and we talked like 2 weeks ago. Matt Fitzpatrick, top 5. He was a frustrating guy to bet on at the Masters, because like he was hitting every green, but then just two putting. Like it was just par after par after par after par after par. He couldn't get a birdie.
No, he played well, especially considering some of the blowups we saw, and he just couldn't buy a one putt to save his life.
And then my winner was Xander Schauffele. We already talked about him. Just a absolutely, to be honest, I kind of bet with my heart on him. I probably shouldn't have, because he hadn't really been in great form leading up to the event. I certainly didn't expect that, though. That was especially on Friday. You had Sam Burns to miss the cut. That was correct. Great call with him. He was a little bit surprising to me to miss the cut, but he missed that. Jordan Spieth, top 20. Not quite.
Big whiff on that one.
Speaking of Peter Dewey, who was in the chat, we didn't end up making a bet between the two, but we did have a little bit of debate. He had Jordan Spieth to win the whole thing, and I was like, I don't know, man, he's not been playing well. But that was kind of another case of course history against recent form. I mean, it bit me in the butt 2 weeks ago at the Texas Open when I took Charlie Hoffman top 10, and he shot like an 80. So just something to kind of keep in mind moving forward, I suppose. Victor Hovland, top 10. Close, but no cigar with that one. He finished T27. You did get Cameron Smith top 5, so he was your second winner last week. Did you get nervous about Cameron Smith top 5? Because what did he get on 12? A triple bogey?
It was either a triple or a quad. But yeah, it was bad. So yeah, I mean, the 12th hole, we've seen some history there with guys like Spieth and stuff like that. So, when he and it was frustrating too, because the reason he dunked it in the water on 12 was the exact reason he won the Players. is he doesn't know how to turn off that aggressiveness. Like he was like, I'm chasing, I'm going after the pin, where Scheffler played it to the left side, like left fringe of the green, and Smith's like, no, I'm taking it at the hole. And so, I mean, you kind of have to expect some shots like that from Smith because that's in his DNA. That's who he is as a player. But I definitely started to worry after that happened. But hats off to him. He pulled it together and rebounded really well over the final, 6 holes.
Yeah, for sure. Peter Dewey back in the chat. Next year, Spieth's year. I mean, we'll see. If he's in better form, maybe. But if he's playing like he has so far this year, absolutely not.
Exactly.
I'm not, by the way, I want to on record, I'm not a Spieth hater. I like Spieth, but I got to trust the numbers a little bit when I'm looking at these numbers. I hope he gets back to the form he was early in his career. It's fun when Jordan Spieth is good at golf, but he just hasn't been.
No, he really hasn't.
Your winner, Justin Thomas, who I was also on to outright as in terms of a bet. I didn't give it on the show, but I said I was on it with you as well. Terrible first round, but then he never fully recovered. He recovered in a sense that he finished. I don't know where he finished, but he was in was he top 10 or just outside the top 10?
He was top 10. I think it was T8 that he finished. So yeah.
Yeah, so solid finish, but he kind of had a Rory majors where the first round just kind of took him out of contention. I think 4 over in the first round.
Yeah, it was tough he was another one that was just really frustrating to watch this week because you'd watch him hit an iron shot and it would be beautiful, which goes to figure because that's what Justin Thomas does. But then after he'd make a birdie, he'd go on the next hole and he'd be in the pine straw off the tee. It was just like he couldn't string 2 good holes together it felt like the entire week.
That is kind of JT's issue is when he's not playing well, it's usually with the driver and he just puts himself out of position off the tee when he gets like that. So there you go. You beat me with your show picks last week. You had 2 winners, Sam Burns and missed the cut, Cam Smith top 5. And the only one I got right was my best friend in the world, Will Zalatoris, BFF, top 10 at plus 250. So RBC Heritage, are you ready to get in the RBC Heritage?
Let's do it. Let's get the plaid jackets out.
Let's do it. Yeah, the plaid jacket. Who is it? Isn't there like a tournament that you get like cowboy boots or something when you win or something like that?
Isn't that the Valero Texas Open that you get the cowboy boots?
Yeah, I think it is the Valero Texas Open. That's right. I'm all for like the weird kind of trophies. And there's another one that's like a white, like a white dress shirt or something. Didn't Joel Damon win something and he had like a weird white? I don't know.
I think that's isn't that Puerto Rico?
Yeah, it could be.
I'm way too deep in the PGA Tour trophy game apparently because I'm pulling these out.
I do love the weird trophy or the weird trophies that you get for winning these events. My big tip before we get into our actual picks here, like I mentioned at the top of the show, I kind of like betting on this tournament because it's very straightforward. I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I think it's all about accuracy this week. Actually, distance off the tee can actually kind of hurt you. And there's no real, ways to kind of use your distance off the tee to your advantage. Like you can't cut off the dog legs. The trees are too long. And all the fairways are extremely lined with trees. If you're inaccurate off the tee whatsoever, you're going to be extremely out of position. The greens are much smaller than the PGA Tour average green. So you have to be a good scrambler as well. You got to be good with greens and regulation. So this is one of those events where just take distance completely out of the equation and it's all about accuracy. And you kind of get that when you look at previous winners of the event. All guys who are not long off the tee for the most part, guys who are very accurate though. Shout out CT Pan, the 2019 winner.
That's right. Before we get started, Ian, I do have one quick question for you that we don't do this pick on here, but in terms of it's something I'm bad at, and I feel like you probably have a little more insight on. How do you identify a first round leader bet that you want to make?
I don't make those bets very often because they're a crapshoot. And that's why when you look at the odds, guys who are short odds to win the tournament, their odds get longer when it's a first round leader, and guys who are long odds, their odds get shorter because it's truly a crapshoot. So I handicap it the rare time that I do bet first round leader, which I do sometimes. It's not that I don't completely never do, but it's usually just a very small bet just for fun. I handicap it the same way as anything else, but then I just go on PGA Tour's website and look at round 1 scoring, which is a stat that they show. So there's no magic trick to it. I don't think I've ever hit a first round. No, I hit one first round leader bet, Peter Malnati.
Okay.
I think last season, forget the event whatsoever. He went on a stretch of being good, and now he sucks again. So I've won one first round leader bet in my life. But like I said, basically the same strategy, but just add in first round score, because some guys generally are better scoring in the first round.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of how I've always approached it. Is it is a crapshoot, so you're kind of just picking and choosing. And I didn't know if you had any better strategies, because I see some people, on Twitter and stuff like that, and they're always firing all first round leaders. And I've seen a lot of people have actually been kind of hot with them this year, which I don't. And I didn't know if there was a strategy that I was missing, or if they're just riding a lucky streak right now.
No, I think it's just the same, just tossing first round leader. I will say one thing about Twitter handicappers when it comes to golf. I have a lot of pet peeves when it comes to Twitter and handicappers to begin with, and I could rant about this for an hour. But one with golf that I find quite a bit is that you see the cards that they put out, and they have 10 outright picks and 8 first round leader picks. And then when one of them wins, they're celebrating. It's well, you lost 2/3 of your profit betting on all the ones that lost. So
right.
I've been making 3 outright picks, and I feel like that's too much. Or they go 3 weeks and they don't hit any, and they're down a ton of money, and hitting one week will barely get them back to even. So that's my quick rant about golf handicappers on Twitter. There's just a lot of some of them just put out a lot of 8 outright picks and 6 first round leaders. Just a bit much in my opinion.
No, I can definitely see that.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our picks here. Miss the cut. We always start we can get the negative vibes out of the way here, and then we'll get into some positive vibes. So Cody, start us off. Who is your pick to miss the cut at the RBC Heritage?
So when I was looking through the board, this kind of felt out of left field, but I'm going with Jason Kokrak to miss the cut. Last year he was one of those guys who kind of popped up a lot out of nowhere. He was he's always been a decent PGA Tour player, but he just kind of kept popping up, and he won several tournaments last year. And he's actually been in relatively decent form coming into RBC Heritage. He ended up tied for 14th at the Masters. He didn't advance at match play, but he was 26th at API before that. And, he's one of those guys who you may not pick him to win, but you generally feel like he's going to make the cut, which I think is working in our advantage here. In the past 4 years, he's played the RBC Heritage every year. Or sorry, excuse me. He didn't play last year, but he played in 2020 through 2017, and he missed the cut 3 times there. And the other time he was T16, but he's missing the cut 75% of the time there. And then what's really concerning to me about him making the cut this week is his off the tee game and tee to green game in general has not been where it was when he was really popping last year. Right now, he's 143rd on the PGA Tour this season in strokes gained off the tee and 130th tee to green. And on top of that, another reason why he was really popping last year was he got really hot with the putter, and he's still putting decently, but he is gaining 0.2 strokes less per round than he was last season. So it's a cooler putter, and his off the tee game has struggled a little bit. And so I've seen consensus odds around plus 5,500 for him to win, and about plus 200 for him to top 20. So I feel like you probably will get plus value on miss the cut odds when they come out. And so I think that's a pretty good pick.
Not a guy I would have thought of, but I don't hate your reasoning there whatsoever. I will say, books have been a little bit. Have you found those books are a little bit slower releasing their odds today?
Yeah, I think they're having a Masters hangover a little bit.
They're having a little Masters hangover, I think. Holy moly. I don't have odds for any of my picks except for I found some odds for winner, and that was it. But my pick to miss the cut, this is going to hurt me because this is one of my favorite golfers on tour, and that is Tyrrell Hatton. He was all out of sorts last week. He was actually extremely entertaining to watch in the Masters because just every shot he was just cursing and throwing his club, and he was, and I think I mentioned this on the show last week, he was leading the tour in strokes gained putting heading into the Masters, and then he lost 1.37 strokes per round on the greens this past week. Also lost half a stroke off the tee. His game just looked all out of sorts. Even this season, he's 153rd in driving accuracy. And like I said, you can't be inaccurate off the tee at Harbour Town or else you're going to be in deep trouble. So His performance last week is concerning. His driving accuracy is concerning. I love him. I think he's going to miss a cut this week, Tyrrell Hatton.
No, I'm with you. On Sunday at the Masters, he looked like he could not get out of Augusta, Georgia fast enough. It was unbelievable.
He is the best to watch by far. There's nothing more entertaining than watching him when he's not playing well.
I'll pay a premium fee for a Tyrrell Hatton feed on PGA Tour Live.
Yes. No, you're not. They're not allowed to bleep him out either. An uncensored Tyrrell Hatton feed every single round he plays on the PGA Tour. I'm in.
Absolutely. Sign me up.
All right. We got the miss the cut out of the way. Now we're jumping into top 20, top 10, top 5, and our winner. So, Cody, hit me up with your pick to finish in the top 20 this week.
So this is one of your guys. You've actually, I think it was 2 weeks ago, you had him on the show as a pick. I like Harold Varner III to come in for a top 20 this week. I've seen some consensus odds for the top 20 at like around plus 230, which I think is tremendous value for a player playing as well as he is right now. It's a small sample size, but over his last 16 rounds, he's 6th in this field in strokes gained tee to green. And he's gaining across the board from the tee to green. He's gaining off the tee, on approach, and around the green. His driving accuracy historically is like a slight concern for the season. He's 161st on tour, only hitting 55.46% of his fairways, but he's improved on that as of late. And I also think he's playing some of the best golf of his career right now. And on top of that, I didn't remember this, but he was second at RBC Heritage last year. So the driving accuracy didn't hurt him there last year. And he has missed 3 cuts at the RBC Heritage prior to that. But like I said, he's in tremendous form right now in a top 20. And like this field is better than a lot of RBC Heritage fields that I've seen before. But at the same time, it's still top heavy, in my opinion. And so I think for someone in his form with his game to come in top 20 at plus 200 or above is tremendous value.
Yeah, I like that pick quite a bit. I was looking at Harold Varner. The only thing that ended up keeping me away was his driving accuracy. But I think sometimes I'm too much of a slave to season-long stats. And if you found that he's been more accurate off the tee lately, then that's a good pick because he has everything else. He's in good form. Finished second last year, so he checks a lot of boxes. It's only top 20. You're not getting too aggressive with him. So I like that pick quite a bit. My top 20 is a guy who I've been betting on quite a bit recently as well. Kevin Kisner. I mean, my strategy for this event is going to be pretty simple. I already explained it. Accurate guys off the tee. All of my picks here that I'm going to get into are all guys who are very accurate off the tee. Kevin Kisner is 5th in driving accuracy. We see at Austin Country Club for the match play tournament how he does at shorter courses. He dominates them. He already has 3 finishes of 11th or better at this event, so he's already done well here. His scrambling concerns me a little bit, which is important at this course because the greens are so small that guys are just going to miss the green sometimes. But that's why I'm just going to take him top 20. So a guy who does well in shorter courses, he said it himself, and I reference this all the time, is like last year or 2 years ago when a reporter asked him, like, why doesn't he think he can win some of these events? And he was honest. He was like, I'm never going to win at Bethpage Black. I'm never going to win at Torrey Pines. And they're like, then why do you show up? And he said, they pay a lot of money for 20th. It's a great line by Kevin Kisner. But, I mean, what he's saying is true, is that he knows what courses fit his style of play well. He knows he's going to perform well there. And then there's other courses that he just knows he just can't win. This is a course that very clearly fits his style of play. So I'll take him top 20.
No, I like that a lot. I mean, like you said, he's the type of player you think of when you think of a place like Harbortown. So I like that a lot.
All right, we're getting in now to top 10. Give me your top 10 pick.
Guy we've already talked about in the show. I'm going back to the well with Matt Fitzpatrick this week for top 10. You've covered it. I feel like we talk about him every week. He's first on tour this year in strokes gained total. He's 5th strokes gained tee to green. He's to play into the driving accuracy. He's 40th this year in driving accuracy, which I like a lot. And he's just been in great form all year. He has 4 top 10 finishes since the start of February. The other 3 starts were top 20s and then a miscut at the Players where he was on the wrong side of the draw. He's also played well at RBC Heritage historically over the last 4 years. He was 4th last year, and then he was 14th, 39th, and 14th. So he has a good history here. He knows the course well, knows he can play it well, and I would argue that he's in a better form than he's been in any of those years right now. Like kind of like you said with Harold Varner, top 10 is kind of playing it safe with him because I think he does have winning upside, but at the same time he hasn't won this year, and so that scares me off of that. But I feel like a top 10 is a safe bet for him.
I love that bet. I will save my thoughts for a few minutes from now.
Okay.
And I will just dive right into my top 10, who is one of my favorite golfers on tour. A guy who has won me an outright pick before. I actually do like him outright this week as well, but given his odds, I'm probably gonna double dip. I'm probably gonna take him outright and top 10, and that is Daniel Berger. 15th in driving accuracy. I mean, this course, and I'm gonna say this for every guy I pick, just fits his style of play to perfection. 15th in driving accuracy. He's generally not long off the tee though. But one thing that I especially like about Berger, who he has over the other picks that I'm making, is his scrambling ability. First in sand save percentage, which is big. Remember when Matt Kuchar won it on the 72nd hole, dunking it out of the bunker. A lot of sand traps on this course. He's first in sand save percentage, 8th in scrambling. He finished 13th here last year, 3rd the year before, so he has a good course history as well. And I think he's being a little bit underrated heading into this week. I think his odds to win are around 28-1. I think he's being a little bit underrated. I think people are starting to forget about Daniel Berger, but I will not top 10 Daniel Berger.
I mean, I love it. When I was looking for my winner pick, he was the runner up in the one I submitted for the show. So I'm all in on Berger this week. I think, like you said, it's a perfect fit. So,
and he played well at Augusta, which has not been a course that he's played well at historically. Thursday and Friday, he played pretty decent. He collapsed on the weekend, but not bad enough where I want to stay away. Because, like I said, Thursday and Friday, he looked pretty good. All right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. Top 5, Cody, hit me.
I feel like I'm playing your greatest hits this week. I'm going Corey Connors with the
yes,
top 5
let's go.
Oh, Canada indeed. So he has a good recent course history at RBC Heritage. He was T4 last year, T21 the year before, so I like that. His form has been really good lately. T6 at the Masters, T35 at Texas, and then he was 3rd in the match play, obviously. He's an accurate driver of the golf ball, 38th on tour in driving accuracy this season, and 15th in strokes gained tee to green. Ball striker, he just hits greens and hits fairways, and that's what you got to do. His putting has actually improved a little bit this year. He's actually been gaining slightly over the last 50 rounds, 0.13 strokes per round. But for Corey Connors, where he was at one point, that's good. That's what you want to see. And I will probably sprinkle on him to outright win this event as well. But for a player who is 3rd in greens and regulation, hits the ball like he does, and just like you said, is a great fit for this golf course and most golf courses, to be honest. I really like him to show up this week.
Love that pick. People do not give Corey Connors the credit he deserves for being as good of a driver as he is. His scrambling and sand numbers make me a little bit nervous, but I mean, 3rd in greens and regulation. So, I mean, if on a course where the greens are especially small, you want those guys who can hit the greens, and he's 3rd on tour in that. So I like that quite a bit. Not on my card currently. I will probably be betting on him in one form or another, or putting him in like a DFS lineup or something. So I like that quite a bit. My top 5, you already talked about him. We do share this pick. You went top 5. I went a little bit more. You went top 10 with this guy. I went a little bit more aggressive. Matt Fitzpatrick. And I am now committed to betting on Matt Fitzpatrick in some capacity every single week until he either wins or until his stats fall off a cliff. Because I am married to the numbers. I'm like this in other sports as well. If I see like a team or a player who statistically should be winning, I just keep betting on them until either I go broke or until they finally start winning, and then I look like a genius. So Matt Fitzpatrick is the guy who I'm just going to die on the hill of this season. Like all the same points that I keep saying every week, all the same points that you were saying, first in total strokes gained. I don't think that takes into consideration the Masters, to be honest. Based on his play, he probably would have dropped out of the top spot for total strokes gained. If they did use Masters, now I don't think Augusta shares those numbers with PGA, but maybe they do. But regardless, still one of the best golfers on tour. 4th here last year, 14th in both 2020 and 2018. So good course history, good form, good statistics. I can't quit betting on Matt Fitzpatrick. I'll take him top 5. I think I am going to stick to top 5 with him, though, this week. I don't think I'm going to take him to win just because I think there are a lot of other guys who could potentially win. So I think he'll be in the mix. He hasn't won on North American soil yet. So I am just going to stick with him top 5 this week.
No, I think that's the right play. I mean, he's playing too good golf to not have some kind of, investment in some
Right.
way. But I like you said, he's not won on North American soil. He's been playing as well as he has, and he still hasn't won this year. Like that sketches me out quite a bit. But I mean, I think he's a very safe pick, as safe as you can get in golf betting.
All right, let's wrap it up. The moment everyone has been waiting for, our pick to win the 2022, the most anticipated golf tournament of the year. Obviously not really, but who's your pick to win the RBC Heritage this week?
I'm going with Dustin Johnson, and
Ooh.
I know that kind of goes against a lot of the things we've said about driving accuracy and stuff like that. Because at Augusta, the reason he probably wasn't in the mix more was because of his driver. I think he gained less than a stroke over all 4 rounds combined off the tee. But one of the things I like about DJ is he's underrated in terms of the way he plots a golf course. And I don't think we're going to see him pull driver a lot. And so I think he's going to go to the 3-wood, which he has historically been very, very accurate with. I think we're going to see him hit that off the tee a lot. He's played decently well at the RBC Heritage over the year. In the last 4 years, he doesn't have a top 10, but he's not finished worse than T28, and the other 3 finishes were top 20s. So he's played decently well here. Probably not up to his standards, but well enough. His irons and his around the green game were so dialed in at Augusta that it's honestly shocking that he wasn't higher up on the leaderboard than he was. And he was still, he had a relatively good finish at the end of the day. But combined approach and around the green strokes gained, he had 8.54 at Augusta this past week. So he's just dialed in with every other club in the bag except for his driver. And like I said, I don't think he's going to pull the driver that much this week. He's also been trending a little bit quietly. T9 at the Masters, 4th in match play, 39th at the Valspar, and 9th at Players. Obviously, getting on the right side of the draw helped at Players, but still, the one concern I would have about him winning is the putter has been very hot and cold. But if the putter is even average and he's striking the ball as well as he has with his irons and finding greens and stuff like that, I think he has the real potential to win. And I saw odds at him at like plus 1,800, plus 1,700. And for DJ in this type of tournament, I think it's possible that I got a little too enticed by that, but I love that. So.
Now, I've agreed with every pick that you've made so far on the show, but it wouldn't be a show with you, Cody, if I didn't disagree and play devil's advocate for at least one of your picks. And I guess this pick's going to be the pick. I do have a conspiracy theory about Dustin Johnson in this event, though. I don't think, and this is going against all my thoughts about using motivation and things like that when handicapping sports. I hate doing that, but I don't think he cares about this event. And I think the only reason why he plays in it is because RBC is like his main sponsor, and this is the RBC Heritage. I think if he wasn't sponsored by RBC, I don't think he'd show up at this event. I think he's hungover from the Masters. But then again, I mean, like you said, I mean, the last 4 years, what is it? 13, 17, 28, 16 or something like that. If these numbers are correct. My biggest concern heading into this week for him would have been his play around the green, because he's 174th in strokes gained around the green, but that was his strongest area last week of the Masters. So if he can bring that play and dial in his putting and his play off the tee, why not? So I don't completely hate it.
Yeah, it's excuse me. I mean, I somewhat agree with you about, RBC being his biggest sponsor, and he probably likes to get out to Hilton Head and get out on the boat every now and then as well too. But at the same time, like, I think he's coming off a Masters where, did you see much of DJ on the coverage? Because I didn't. And I think it was a really low stress, non-pressure Masters for him. And with the form he's been in, I think he can come in. And I don't think DJ is necessarily the motivation type of guy. I think he's a guy who goes out and plays golf, and if he has it, he's gonna contend, Like, he's never the guy that you see like locked in like a Tyrrell Hatton or someone. Like, he's DJ. And so I don't and I will admit, part of this is a gut feeling. I just think he's trending in this direction and he's going to pop up soon. And so I'm going for this week after the like stress-free Masters.
He has been playing well recently. T12 Masters, fourth place in match play, T9 at the Players. I don't hate it. My pick to win, extremely chalky. I'm not usually a chalky guy, but I am this week. There's just too many things that look good for this pick. That is Colin Morikawa. Just an all-time square bet for my pick to win. He's either the second on the odds list to win. I've seen some books that he's the co-favorite with Justin Thomas, but he's somewhere around 14-1 this week. But I mean, you want to talk about a course that fits his style of play. I mean, he's 88th in driving distance, so he's not long off the tee, but he's 9th in driving accuracy, 10th in greens and regulation. We all know he's one of the best iron players on the tour. His scrambling does concern me a little bit, but shouldn't be that big of an issue because he's just so good at hitting greens. He should just be able to hit most of them, or at least a good portion of them. And he had a very good Sunday round at the Masters. Him and McIlroy were paired together and they just tore it up. I think they were a combined like 12 under between the two of them, I think on Sunday, or 11 under or something.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that if they were playing best ball, they would have shot a 61. So
oh my God. Which would have been the course record. They would have set the course record.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's insane. So I'm hoping that he can carry that momentum from Sunday at the Masters into this week. And I forgot to write it down, but I think he has a good course history here. Didn't he finish close to the top last week or last year here?
Yeah,
I'm just going to keep talking and stall as I bring up his course history here. What's that?
I know. I apologize. Tied for 7th last year.
Tied for 7th last year. So good course history as well. So momentum from Sunday, good course history. This is a course that accurate golfers who are good with an iron in their hand, Colin Morikawa, to get his first win of the year. Because don't forget, he hasn't won yet this year. So maybe he's a little hungry for this first win. Maybe. So that's my pick to win.
I like that a lot. I mean, like you said, it fits. I mean, I looked hard at Morikawa too because it feels like a course that just absolutely fits him. Like, everything that he does well is what this course demands. So I like that pick a lot.
I will say, and we can kind of end on this note unless you have any other thoughts here, that this event, my picks have actually been kind of chalky, even like top 20, because Kevin Kisner's like 40-1 or 50-1 to win. I only took him top 20. This event is kind of an event that you can target long shot guys, because the odds of winners previous years, Stuart Sink last year, 125-1. Webb Simpson 30-1 in 2020, but then CT Pan 160-1, Satoshi Kodera 250-1 in 2018, 80-1. A little bit chalky there once we get around the 2010s, but 3 of the last 4 winners have been at least 125-1 at this event. So something to keep in mind if you're someone who likes to bet on some long shots or some dark horses.
Excuse me. Absolutely. And one thing I did want to say is my big lean that I was a little scared to put for our miscut. I do not like Cam Smith this week. I understand his around the green and short game could play well here, but if the one big weakness in Cam Smith's game, and it caught up to him a couple times at Augusta, is his driving accuracy. He can get extremely squirrely with the driver, and I know he's hot and he's been playing extremely well, but I'm going to fade him in matchups, and I'm still contemplating betting him to miss the cut because I do not like him this week.
I'm ashamed of you that you didn't make Cam Smith to miss the cut as your official miss the cut pick. Be bold. Coward.
I couldn't do it.
No, I don't blame you. But you're right, 147th in strokes gained off the tee, 148th in driving accuracy. Like I said, if you're not accurate off the tee here, you get in trouble because it's not just some trees like at Augusta where you can usually kind of punch out. These trees at Harbour Town are thick. Remind me of the courses back home where I grew up, it's like fairway and then like 10 feet of rough and then literally just woods. Like there's no hitting out of there. If you're not accurate off the tee, you're just take a drop because you can't even find your ball, let alone hit it, which Harbour Town kind of reminds me of. So any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, I'm excited for this tournament. I'm excited to see what we're looking at in the Postmasters world, see what guys emerge from it, with good feels and what guys, are fatigued by it and things like that. So I'm excited for it.
I am too, and like I said, I think it's kind of an underrated tournament, to be honest. I think it kind of gets hidden because it's right after the Masters. But thank you for everyone that's watching. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't forget to join the BetSided weekly golf giveaway. 300 entries last week. If you've already joined, you can just submit your entries this week. If you haven't joined, click the link that's on our Twitter timeline to join. $50 Visa gift card on the line. I will be in the pool. I will have my pick submitted, but the only thing I can win is bragging rights. So yeah, join that. Thank you all for watching. Good luck with your bets this week. We'll talk to you next week for Cody. Do you know the PGA tournament next week?
I have absolutely no idea.
Me neither. We'll figure it out. We'll talk to you next week. See you later.